Hey guys, it's been a while since I've talked on the show, and so we're going to discuss a few things. What's going on here? Mark Stoops has moved on. He has a somewhere around $37-38 million agreement, which is expected. He was going to have a $40 million agreement. That didn't happen. So here we are right now, and instead of let's harping on the fact, what Mark Stoops might have done negatively and where the state of Kentucky football is right now. I want to think about the good things that we had under his program. He got me back into watching Kentucky football. Actually, got me into watching Kentucky football because I never watched Kentucky football until Mark Stoops had a good running back by the name of Benny Snell Jr., who smashed all kind of records and was 1 pound under to be a pro player. Kentucky could not pass, but they could kick and they could run, and that's what he went with, and that's what made Kentucky good. They had the big blue line, which worked out really well. Everything seemed like it was going in our direction. Two things I think happen is we obviously have done well on recruiting these young players to come to Kentucky because they want to be in the SEC. But now you've got two changes. You've got the transfer portal, which immediately wants players to progress. So they have to gel in with the newer players. And so basically you're back to square one with a bunch of freshmen. Right now we're expecting quarterbacks to produce as freshmen. We're expecting all these players to produce as freshmen and also have players, from, these schools, transfer portals, to act like they're already kids who, when you had kids that were originally from transfer, they had to sit out 1 year, and what causes the problem is it makes the player think twice about leaving. Now the players don't even think twice about leaving because they can just up and leave, and then they're playing. You've got NIL where people are paid more money. And so schools that have college football programs where they fill out stadiums of 80,000, 70,000, 60,000 stadium drawn, you're looking at programs that are willing to spend a lot of money for the players. Kentucky, if they have 40 to 50,000 in a stadium, are lucky to get that. So that comes into play as well. And Mark Stoops was not able to adapt. He's obviously got an old school of thinking. We see him losing Vic Morrow, who had some great tweets to say about the Kentucky program, and I mean that facetiously. So a lot of things in mind. Now, Kentucky's in a rough struggle. They do have a new coach coming, and where is he going to go? What is going to be his first step in upgrading the program? Is he going to be of new? We missed out on Summerall, which would have been a great pick for Kentucky because you would have that Kentucky Mark Pope type filling, in there. People love their football cats just as much as they love their basketball cats. But the problem is this has never been a program that has been up there with Alabama or any of the winningest programs out there. So when you're looking at trying to rebuild with a program that is not of a winning football tradition, and with the SEC going down, this new football coach is going to have some problems. He is really going to have some problems bringing this up because I almost felt like with Cutter Bowley in and seeing how well they performed before the last two games, where they just were just totally decimated. And so if we go by game to game basis, and that's what we're going on, or it's going to be tough because a lot of these are freshman kids. And if these kids were coming back next year for Kentucky, I wanted to see where they would go. We will never know now. So, like I've said before, Mark Stoops would be satisfied at a probably, not so winning Big Ten, but he's in a tough conference. If he goes into a conference that's weaker than the Big Ten and the SEC, I think he would do very, very well. But to lose that type of money and that type of position through two of the winningest conferences in football is just something nobody wants. But that's where Mark Stoops is at. And how he got there, I've got so many theories that I could go on. And maybe I'll go over if I could look at something statistically. But right now, I want to thank him for giving us interest back into Kentucky football. There are many of us who never would have been a part of Kentucky football unless it would have been for Mark Stoops, and I'm one of those people. Mark Stoops is the only coach I really, really know. On that, we'll go into Kentucky basketball and the importance of this North Carolina game and what Kentucky needs to do to win and to win throughout the season. Okay, talking about those basketball cats. So many of us are hoping for Jaden Quaintance to come in and play in the North Carolina game. I probably don't see that happening. Is it possible that this kid is going to redshirt? Who knows? Nathaniel Hawthorne is the one that we're talking about redshirting. Then we have the Gonzaga game. Is Jaden Quaintance going to play then? I've given up hope on that for right now. And I'm speaking as a frustrated Kentucky fan. But here are three things Kentucky need to figure out. And the three flaws I see, and it revolves around the three-point shot. Number one, here are my three keys. Number one is rebound the three. If your opponent is going to shoot the three, rebound that three. Learn how to rebound. Have one player shoot a three-point shot, have one player rebound, and one who gets to the points first is the winner. That's how you play the game. Once a player learns where a ball will land, they'll be able to figure out how to rebound. Take a lesson from Dennis Rodman. Malachi Moreno is the guy that needs to be doing that rebounding and get him trained. When I think about the Michigan State win, I think of Happy Gilmore, who learned how to putt. That's what happened with Michigan State, is those guys knew how to shoot and hit the three. Our guys did not hit the three, and the rest is history. So number one is rebound that three. Number two is to guard the three. I know what you guys are thinking. What about getting inside? I'm going to tell you what. If you don't hit a three on Kentucky, you're most likely not going to win. That's what it looks like right now. And the only way you can guard a three is to make them take threes that are not high percentage three-point shots. So the way you would do that is you would have to make sure that your player is in the position of high percentage threes. You would need to show them the court and have that defensive player go only to those places where there is high percentage made three-point shots. Where there are low percentage three-point shots, and you could point them out, all you would need to do is show the percentages of where players make their three-point shots. You force those three-point shooters to go into the low percentage areas. That's the way you would, that's the only really top way of guarding the three. And that means you have to go out to at least the three-point line, not past the three-point line, but to the three-point line. Then on the low percentage areas, you could back up and force them to take the three. But when they get in that high percentage three-point area, you would guard that. Then it is up to those on the inside to rebound that three. That's needs to happen. So you're going to have to rebound the three, and then number two, guard the three, and then finally number three is don't rely on the three. Kentucky needs to set themselves up to a game of players that can make high percentage shots and players who make low percentage shots. Biggest Kentucky mistakes are the inability to finish on high percentage shots. But there are players that do make those high percentage shots. Those players need to be set up like a special teams. If Kentucky's threes are not going down, then you need to switch over to the high percentage players. Meaning have it set up for low percentage shots for those who make the three and high percentage shots for those who get those bunnies. And Kentucky has those players. They have one player who can do both. They have a couple players who can do both, really. But when they are not hitting that three, to tell them to keep on shooting the three is bad advice, because that's when Kentucky loses by 16 points. Because the other team is going to hit because they're not guarding that three and they're not rebounding those three-point shots. You rebound those three-point shots, you're going to create more opportunity for high percentage shots. So my three keys are basically guard the three, rebound the three, and finally don't rely on the three. That's where my frustration is with this team. Yes, there's a lot of players that play very great offensive, but what are they doing on the defensive side? Trent Noah can hit that three. Yelovic can hit that three, but can they guard that three? That's the issue that you're running into with this Kentucky team, because once the other team can hit the three, Kentucky loses big. And then not rebounding the missed three shots. All right, so that's my takeaway for that North Carolina game. We've got to defend that territory, get them so riled up that they realize that this is our home. Defend our home. It's not important to me as much if you go on a away game lose as it is to defend your home. And Kentucky needs to defend their home this year. Guys, like, subscribe. Tell me what you think of the show. If we do more, I'm looking at focus on certain players of growing up in Kentucky, of my favorite players, and we'll probably do videos as things go on. We're trying to get everything established, develop a routine. This is really tough to do. I want to kind of have a, Kentucky basketball channel. I always have, because I know it gets lots of views and a lot of discussions. Kentucky basketball, Kentucky football, and you guys have a great day, and you guys appreciate you watching and listening.